and welcome. I'm Neha Khanna and you're watching America 360. Let's get you all the big stories grabbing headlines in the US tonight. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan. In a Truth Social post, the US president said all the hostages will be released very soon and Israel will withdraw its troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps towards a strong, durable and everlasting peace. The announcement comes days after Trump asked Israel to stop bombing Gaza and Hamas accepted the proposal with certain conditions.
I was just dealing with people from the Middle East, Arab people and other people on the potential peace deal for the Middle East. Peace for the Middle East, that's a beautiful phrase and we hope it's going to come true, but it's very close. And they're doing very well. We have a great team over there, great negotiators, and there are unfortunately great negotiators on the other side also. But it's something I think that will happen, got a good chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually, and we'll see. But there's a very good chance negotiations are going along very well. We're dealing with Hamas and many of the countries. As you know, we have all of the Muslim countries are included. All of the Arab countries are included. Very rich countries and some that are not so rich, but just about everybody's included. It's never happened before. Nothing like that's happened before. And our final negotiation, as you know, is with Hamas. And it seems to be going well. So we'll let you know. If that's the case, we'll be leaving probably on Sunday, maybe Saturday, maybe a little later than Saturday evening. But that seems to be our schedule.
With the Nobel Peace Prize set to be announced on Friday, there is a big question everyone's asking. Will Donald Trump be conferred the coveted honor? Since he was re-elected to the White House this January, Trump has claimed he has settled 7 conflicts and was close to ensuring the end of an 8th one. The US president has time and again reiterated his claim of having brokered a ceasefire between India and Pakistan that ended a 100-hour conflict.
The Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on Friday. You've been nominated by many world...
By many countries, that's right.
Many countries as well as the hostage families. Do you think you will win?
I have no idea. I mean, look, I did settle. Marco would tell you we settled 7 wars. We're close to settling an 8th. And I think we'll end up settling the Russia situation, which is horrible. 7,000 people died last week, by the way, in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine. I think we'll settle that. So I don't think anybody in history has settled that many, but perhaps they'll find a reason not to give it to me, you know? Perhaps they will.
A US district court will hear arguments over a request to block the deployment of Illinois and Texas Guard troops. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and local officials have strongly opposed the use of the National Guard by Trump. A small number of National Guard troops are currently protecting federal property in the Chicago area and assisting law enforcement in Memphis. Donald Trump, while hosting a roundtable of conservative influencers at the White House on the impact of Antifa protesters, alleged a left-wing terror threat in the country. Antifa is short for anti-fascist and is used to describe far left-leaning militant groups. They include groups that resist fascists and neo-Nazis, especially at demonstrations. The president hosted the event as he deployed National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon, and Chicago in Illinois against the wishes of local officials and called for Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, both Democrats, to be jailed.
It should be clear to all Americans that we have a very serious left-wing terror threat in our country. Radicals associated with the domestic terror group Antifa that you've heard a lot about lately, and I've heard a lot about them for 10 years. And other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. And in Portland, Oregon, Antifa thugs have repeatedly attacked our offices and laid siege to federal property in an attempt to violently stop the execution of federal law. Everything we're doing is very lawful. What they're doing is not lawful. And what the governor and the mayor of, as an example, you could say of Portland, and you can say certainly of Chicago, it's not lawful what they're doing. They have to be very careful. The epidemic of left-wing violence and Antifa-inspired terror has been escalating for nearly a decade. At universities, Antifa has organized riotous mobs to attack campus speakers. I see it all the time. And these are agitators, anarchists, and they're paid. And you'll find that out. You'll be finding it out very soon. You should see what we have on these people. These are bad people. These are people that want to destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. Under the Trump administration, we're going after Antifa criminals, and all who fund and support their campaigns are in serious trouble. And we have a lot of records already, a lot of surprises, a lot of bad surprises. It's people that you would never think. I want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, by the way, yesterday was incredible in Congress. It was amazing, and she just did it from the heart and the brain, because she's very smart, in all fairness, but she did it from the heart.
An all-out showdown has erupted between Donald Trump and the Democratic Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker over the deployment of National Guards in cities including Chicago. Trump has called for the arrest of Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, both Democrats, for opposing his deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago. National Guard troops from Texas are now positioned outside Chicago despite a lawsuit by the state and city to block their deployment.
Earlier today, you said the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois should be jailed. Have you asked the Justice Department to look at possible charges?
No, I've seen the law, and when you have a group of people where the police call off the safety for ICE officials, I've understood that, and I've read it today in numerous journals, that that's illegal. What they did is I guess it was ICE, Christie, right? They were under threat, and the police were helping beautifully, and it was fine, and then all of a sudden, a woman was on the line saying, everybody, move back, get out. And they were given an order by the second person in the police department, and the governor knew about it, the mayor knew about it. I understand that's a criminal offense. But we're going to see, most of them are going to get back pay, and we're going to try and make sure of that. But some of them are being hurt very badly by the Democrats, and they therefore won't qualify.
I've said over and over again, the federal government has not communicated with our state in any way whatsoever about what their troop movements are going to be. I can't believe I have to say troop movements in a city in the United States, but that is what we're talking about. We're getting no information from them. They willy-nilly run over people's rights. They're pulling people out of their houses. They're asking them for proof of citizenship because they're brown or black. That is, a country that I don't think any of us should accept, and a president we should not accept. You would think that the federal government and state government and local governments should be able to enforce a federal court's order. So that's why we went to court. This is a great country. This is a democracy still, although we have to keep it, and we all have to stand up for it. And so we're looking for the courts to do the right thing, and we will follow a court order. What kind of a country are we living in where the President of the United States is targeting his political opponents? That is the world that we're living in now, where he is calling out. He said he was going to jail Gavin Newsom. He says he's going to jail me. He says he's going to jail the mayor of the city of Chicago. These are people who stand against him, disagree with him, speak out about it, but literally have done nothing wrong. We are doing the people's business by standing up for them. He's demented, literally, unhinged. And this is somebody who's so insecure that he lashes out pretending that he can come arrest people for no reason at all. He can't. He isn't going to do it. Taco. Trump always chickens out.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi was left visibly stunned before erupting in a sharp outburst after she was confronted with a shocking question. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse pressed her over alleged photos of Donald Trump with half-naked women that were found in Epstein's safe. This triggered gasps across the chamber. What followed was a fiery exchange that saw Bondi turning the tables, leveling a major accusation against Whitehouse himself. escalating the hearing into a political spectacle that left the entire room gobsmacked.
Treasury compiles suspicious activity reports, referred to often as SARs, that DOJ receives automatically. Hundreds related to accounts of Jeffrey Epstein. How many of those Treasury SARs did you or Director Patel investigate?
Senator, I'm not sure if you're concerned because you took money, I believe, did you, from Reid Hoffman, one of Epstein's closest confidants, not only once but twice in 2018 and 2024, if that's correct. But, Senator, did you ask Merrick Garland any of this over the last 4 years when he sat before you? This investigation has been going on. This investigation was closed. Did you ask Alex Acosta that?
And Patel came to office, you said you would look into this. There were hundreds of suspicious activity reports. Some people would deduce from the fact that they are called suspicious activity reports that there might be suspicious activity. And yet you seem to have looked at 0 of those suspicious activity reports involving Jeffrey Epstein accounts. Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him? You don't know anything about that? Okay. Here's what well, no, we cut to something else. The Marshal Service is supposed to protect our federal judges. I have asked repeatedly for the Marshal Service to let me know if they are investigating or being inhibited from investigating whether or not there is orchestration of threats against federal judges, whether under either conspiracy laws or racketeering enterprise laws or aiding and abetting laws, whatever. But as you know, there's the person who says the threat, and then there may very well be somebody orchestrating the threat behind them. Mm-hmm. Is the Marshal Service allowed to investigate orchestration of threats, and do you know if they've taken one step to do so?
May I answer the question, Chairman Grassley? The time has expired.
I think it's the convention of the committee that if I've started my question in my time, you may answer the question.
I was asking the chairman.
Okay, before I go to Cornyn.
She wants to answer the question, Chairman.
Oh, please go ahead. I thought you said you didn't want to answer it. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir. Thank you. Senator Whitehouse, I would be happy to sit down with you regarding any threat to any federal judge in this country. We take threats very seriously. I will set a meeting with you, with Director Serralta of the U.S. Marshals, and I will be there. And we will talk about any threats on federal judges,
including orchestration,
who threatened them or who orchestrated them.
Bingo. Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have on this edition of America 360. If you have been, thanks for watching. Do join us again at the same time tomorrow.